समझ नहीं आ रहा अपने सैलरी इंक्रीमेंट का क्या करूं।
बेटा इतना क्या सोच रहा है, अपने म्यूचुअल फंड्स के एसआईपी का टॉप अप करा ले। दिस इज द राइट टाइम।
क्या समझ में नहीं आया।
बेटा इतना क्या सोच रहा है, अपने म्यूचुअल फंड्स का एसआईपी टॉप अप करा ले। दिस इज द राइट टाइम।
आप समझा।
Mutual fund investments are subject to market risks. Read all scheme-related documents carefully.
Rahul Gandhi has made what he had previously referred to as an atom bomb of a presentation. He has alleged voter fraud. He has alleged 1 lakh dubious voters by zooming in on one particular election in the state of Karnataka. He's now going head to head with the Election Commission, but the BJP has also hit back and attacked and criticized Rahul Gandhi for being unwilling to put his allegations in an affidavit on oath, which is how the Election Commission has countered his big charges made at a press briefing in the last few hours. Rahul Gandhi then took those charges to the streets in Bangalore, protesting against what he's calling vote chori. Should there be an independent inquiry to answer the charges raised by Mr. Gandhi? I'm Barkha Dutt. You're with the Mojo Story. On the program today, we decode the detailed presentation made by Rahul Gandhi at what he has called his atom bomb allegation against the Election Commission of India. Mr. Gandhi has accused the Election Commission of not doing its job. He has zoomed in on one assembly segment within a Lok Sabha seat in Bangalore and alleged grave irregularities. Among them, 1 lakh dubious voters. This is a grave charge, and the Election Commission responded by saying that Rahul Gandhi must be prepared to put this allegation on oath in writing. So far, that is what the Election Commission has said. The BJP has also now waded into this debate, but they've chosen to pick a different part of Rahul Gandhi's comments, one in which he warned officials of the Election Commission that one day the opposition would be in power, and then officials of the EC who were responsible for what Mr. Gandhi is calling voter fraud would be punished because they were, according to Rahul Gandhi, attacking the very soul of democracy and what India's freedom movement was all about. Let's introduce our guest today as we look at this big press conference by the leader of the opposition, a very serious set of charges amid an already ongoing row over voter lists in Bihar, which is the next big election. Joining us now is Dilip Cherian, political analyst, brand guru. Good to see you, Dilip. Joining us also is Dhruv Jatti. He's a leader of the Congress based out of Karnataka. Welcome to the program. Also joining me is Surabhi. Surabhi Hodigere is a leader of the BJP based out of Karnataka. Good to see you, Surabhi. And also joining me is Sugata Srinivasraju, veteran journalist and author. Let me start by playing out a clip of Rahul Gandhi's latest series of statements, this one made at a protest rally in Karnataka. Take a look.
So, here are 5 questions to the Election Commission of India. Instead of threatening us, threatening me, answer these 5 questions. Number 1, why are you not giving voter lists in digital machine readable format to the people of India? Number 2, why are you destroying video evidence? Number 3, why is ECI committing massive fraud in the voter lists? Number 4, why is ECI threatening opposition instead of answering our questions? And finally, why is ECI behaving like an agent of the BJP? Namaskar. So that last comment was, of course, a political comment, but the charges made have been very, very specific. And before I get the representatives of the two parties, who I'm sure will disagree, I want to get non-politicians to give their perspective. I'll start with you, Dilip.
Did you see the briefing in detail? Have you looked at the allegations in detail? And what do you have to say?
I think the ECI seems to be stuck in a bit of a hard spot because the 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 request he's making is not insane. It is absolutely valid in this day and age where everything is in digital format and we are voting on electronic voting machines. I'm sure that there is nothing wrong with insisting that this is the format it should be available in and that video evidence should be maintained because today the storage costs have come crashing down and India is supposed to be a superpower as far as storage and other such things are concerned. So if you ask me, it is less about Rahul Gandhi, more about ECI and the fact that these charges seem to have stuck in the public mind so far. Will it go further? Is it something that needs to be dug deep into? From a pure lay person's perspective and from the branding perspective of what the ECI looks like today, I think it looks like an organization that seems to have a huge credibility issue. It's got, the playbook from the other side has been, oh, you weep when you don't win, you are okay when you win, etc. Those don't matter. This is hard numbers. We are living in a world of data, and I think the ECI is the one that's on the mat at the moment. It's got nothing so much to do with politics.
Sugata, do you agree with that this is not Congress versus BJP? Because after all, if there are dubious voters, actually there's no way of knowing which party, no way of, for us at least, necessarily to know which party they may be affiliated with or not affiliated with. Dilip's point is, let's not make this about a BJP Congress pact. Irrespective of political affiliations, we should be interested in the Election Commission being able to say more than put these allegations on oath in writing.
I mean, as a citizen of this country and as someone who wants the electoral rolls clean, I think the charges that Rahul Gandhi is making is extremely serious. There is no doubt about that. So whether, he's going to go ahead and, swear, produce an affidavit and say you can, go ahead and, look at it and inquire about it, is a separate question. But then the allegations itself are pretty serious, and the electoral rolls have never been clean in India. That's also another thing. It's always been dodgy. It's always been kind of reworked, and it's always been a kind of we know all that. We know about it. But people being left out every election when you sort of stand near the booth and people are returning without being able to vote. It speaks about the electoral rolls or the faulty electoral rolls. So that is one part of the thing. So the allegation is serious. But as Dilip ji said, if it is about data, if it is about, electronic, getting it electronically, electronically being made available, the whole thing is that if it is about data and Rahul Gandhi is so sure of his data, he should also be able to give an affidavit, right? So if it's not opinion, he's saying this is, at least what we are trying to make sense of is that it's not opinion, it's data. But if it's data, then I think you should go the whole hog and give an affidavit and sort of tell the ECI that I'm willing to do anything for the sake of, getting my whole thing, looked at. So that is one part of the story. The second thing is, Barkha, since Dilip ji mentioned branding, see, it has created optics, but is it also building a narrative is a question. Because see, now what is Rahul Gandhi's contention? He says the ECI is corrupt. It's acting alongside the BJP. But then who should be the, judge and umpire here? It can't be the Congress. It has to be the Supreme Court. But what are they saying about the Supreme Court? They've also created a huge question mark about the Supreme Court. So now, if you look at all of this, if you take a kind of a distant view of the whole thing, who is to be the umpire for the allegations that Rahul Gandhi is making? Who is to sort of say that this is right and this is wrong?
I think that's a good question.
Yeah. And if it is about data, Barkha, Why is Rahul Gandhi not going the whole hog and saying, okay, you asked me to file an affidavit, I shall do so in the court of law? So you are not trusting the Supreme Court, you're not trusting the ECI. So now what are we as citizens supposed to do? Who is going to say that this is right and this is credible? So that is the question in my mind.
I think that last point is an important point. And, before I come to Surabhi and Dhruv, there are two varying opinions on this in our audience comment section. So Ved Abhyankar says, while I agree that the ECI needs to be a lot more proactive and make things clear once and for all, the fact that Rahul Gandhi, has not used the available official legal channels is extremely suspect, according to them. But there's another comment with a completely different opinion. Why has the Election Commission not issued an official statement rather than deflecting the issue on an affidavit? Why hasn't the EC called for a special investigation based on yesterday? So two different perceptions of the same press briefing. Nobody, Surabhi, is saying that the charges are frivolous. I think everybody agrees that the charges are serious. Right now, should we be stuck? Because this concerns an assembly segment within Bangalore. It is a Karnataka story, but it's an all India story, because if it can happen in one part of the country, it can happen in other parts of the country if it's true. Shouldn't the response of the BJP, of the ECI, of every politician be, all right, let's have an inquiry. Let us have an inquiry into these allegations because they're extremely serious. How do you respond, Surabhi?
Thank you, Barkha. You mentioned that this is probably not a BJP versus Congress issue, yet Rahul Gandhi chose to look at a constituency where BJP has won. And therefore, BJP has to respond both politically as well as in the interest of the public. And BJP has done so. In the last 24 hours, just 1 hour ago, Arvind Limbavali, who was the former MLA of the Mahadevpura constituency, has done a detailed press conference. I just want to take 5 points from that press conference because it's incredibly important. The fact that he mentioned that Aditya Srivastav check has been done in the last 24 hours. His Form 7 has been submitted for deletion as per he moved from UP to Mumbai to Bengaluru. There is a Form 7 that has been submitted. One. Second, Vishal Singh, same thing. Varanasi to Marathali, he lives in an apartment. Again, check has been done. Important things that I want to mention over here. In booth number 470, there was a claim of 70 voters. Our Karyakartas have gone there, checked, have a conversation with them. We have understood that only 7 people have voted. The same room that they were alluding to was a list of rooms, like one address, but many rooms together because these were hotel employees. I'm just giving you examples. Same check has been done in booth number 243, same check in 366. The reason I talked to you about, multiple people living in one area, this is Mahadev. Yeah. There is a high migration rate. This constituency has rewarded the BJP continuously in assembly as well as Lok Sabha elections with a growth rate in vote share for the BJP being a consistent 5%. High migration, high number of voters. 6 lakh is a very high vote for an assembly constituency. Now, having said that, the same Arvind Limbavali has also brought up the issue of, you remember Rahul Gandhi spoke about address being zero. If he has spoken only for electoral reforms, which we appreciate as leader of opposition, that is his role. If he had spoken, he would have also spoken about the chief minister's constituency in Varuna, where pages after pages after pages had zero as their address. In Muskie, the same problem in part number 1. In Sandur, an ST reserved constituency, part number 6, same problem, address zero. Bulk voters, we went to BTM layout where the Congress has won again and again and again. Booth number 100, 141/2. In one house, there are over 70 voters. Same BTM layout constituencies. There is Chamrajpet, somebody named by Aisha Banu, who has a double entry. Our Karyakartas in the last 24 hours, after this allegation has been made, have gone on ground and checked. We rebut this statement and very much take offense to the fact that Rahul Gandhi, whose party has zero credibility in talking about ECI, many of the ECI chairpersons have become Congress members, ministers. When he says that this is BJP hands in with the ECI.
Can I ask you, Surabhi, can I ask you a question? Because Dhruv has his hand up, but you said Rahul Gandhi is not speaking of the same constituency. What are you alleging there? In particular, you said, why isn't he talking, when you said zero, you spoke about zero votes, right? Elaborate on that, because a lot of people who are not following Karnataka's politics closely may not understand what you're referring to.
In across different constituencies, as Sugata sir mentioned, there are issues with the voter roll. We have seen this come out in anecdotal evidence. We've seen it multiple times. In fact, in Maharashtra and Dhule, our MP candidate went to the court with respect to this. ECI needs to have multiple checks. Rahul Gandhi today has become the biggest champion of the special intensive revision happening in Bihar. This needs to happen across the country. He is, in fact, campaigning for the SIR. That is what he is doing. If he had no political angle to this and had spoken about electoral reforms, people would have taken him seriously. I disagree with Mr. Dilip Cherian's analysis that it's gone in public mind. I, as a person, reasonable person, I give benefit of doubt. A lot of people in my party are saying Rahul Gandhi should work as a BLA. He should understand ground level politics before making these accusations, because unfortunately these happen very often, and yes, we need to fix them, not taking away from that, which is why an SIR exists. I'm just sorry, I know Dhruv has
okay, sorry. Let Dhruv respond. Let Dhruv respond. I'll come back to you. Let Dhruv have his say. So, Dhruv, I think the essence of what Surabhi is saying is that there could be issues with electoral rolls, but all parties face them. They exist across seats, and actually the SIR, which is the revision of voter rolls that is taking place in Bihar, instead of opposing it, Rahul should support it because he's actually advocating the need for this kind of cleanup. That's, in a way, the mota essence that I'm taking away from what Surabhi is saying. How do you react, Dhruv?
Well, Barkha, firstly, to begin with, I think there was a large narrative set out by the BJP spokespersons, their leadership over the last 24 hours on, how electoral rolls across the entire country have seen some sort of discrepancies everywhere. But the fact of the matter is that the Congress has come out with hard facts that over 1 lakh votes have been misplaced in a particular constituency. Now, please tell me, is that a small number or a large number? That definitely affects the essence of what happens in a particular seat. It cannot be overlooked and said that, because XYZ reasons as to why the house number is 0 or why the father's names are just pure alphabets. These are 1 lakh above votes. This affects the whole essence of an entire constituency. Now, coming to SIR, well, the Congress has time and again in the parliament been asking for a discussion, but clearly there has been no discussion on the SIR, and we continue to ask for the SIR to be discussed in the parliament. The reason behind this is because 65 lakh votes in Bihar were deleted. Now, Barkha, tell me, why wasn't the SIR conducted during the Lok Sabha election? Weren't we all aware that the pandemic had killed a large number of, had taken away the lives of a large number of aged people? Wasn't that public knowledge? Wasn't that a part of the reason as to why a lot of old age people had lost their lives? Well, SIR on the whole should have been conducted before the Lok Sabha. Why was it not conducted then? The Congress has purely stuck to its stance on the SIR, stating that they want a discussion on it. And if the BJP is not so afraid of the SIR, and if they believe that the Congress is championing the SIR, then tomorrow speak about it in the parliament. Why are you so afraid about it? Let's talk about it in the parliament. Well, they are not ready to do so. And the same applies with the Election Commission. The Election Commission believes that this is a highway or my way. Instead of responding to the Congress, they ask the Congress to sign a declaration or apologize. I mean, is the Election Commission only answerable to the Bharatiya Janata Party, or is it even answerable to the people of this entire country? Because this is, in fact, an issue of the entire constitutional rights being compromised. 1 vote, 1 election. I mean, what they say, 1 person, 1 vote. It's a core value of the institutions that our country should be handling at this point of time, but the EC is compromised. I mean, what do you expect the people of this country to do? Forget me as a Congress spokesperson, forget Surabhi as a BJP spokesperson. Let's talk as general public. We pay taxes to make sure that the country functions in a democratic way. The democracy is compromised. This is exactly what the Congress is putting across in front of the people of this country. And this isn't an issue of politics. This is more of an issue of making sure that the electoral rolls are clean. And this is what the Congress wants on the whole. And Barkha, have you seen the response of the BJP sitting parliamentarian in Bangalore Lok Sabha? Did you see his response, his tweet after the entire expose of the press conference? He goes on to take a communal angle on the issue. I mean, this is entirely ridiculous. I feel the BJP on the whole should look at it from a more bipartisan view and look at it in a way in which we can resolve this issue. The EC is refusing to give us the digital machines. They are refusing to give it. What do you expect the Congress to do? I mean, we have to sit and manually investigate this entire thing when the EC can handle, when the EC can hand over the entire information digitally. As a common person, it's very, very clear. There was an abnormal voter surge in this particular constituency. Yes, it has an impact on the rest of India simply because this can have or would have happened in various constituencies, irrespective, mind you, irrespective of it being a BJP one seat or a Congress one seat. This is a matter of making sure our constitutional rights are in fact intact. Democracy is under threat, Barkha. The burden is on the EC, and they must prove and they must investigate, and they have to answer to the people of this country today. Because if this does not have answers, the people are going to lose faith in the Electoral Commission, which is in fact a very big institution in this country.
Okay, you are saying take it beyond BJP and Congress. Tomorrow it could be your voter, day after it could be Surabhi's voters. I want to play out the specific allegations that Rahul has made, but I'll allow Surabhi a brief interjection. And go ahead, Surabhi.
Hard facts. Her name was mentioned a couple of times. Sugata Rani, if I'm getting it right. She moved from Panipat to Bengaluru, now lives in Purva apartments. The allegation was that she has voted twice. That is the check mark. Who has made the check mark? It is not the BLO, government appointed person to do inside the voting booth. It is the BLA, which is your agent sitting, the Congress agent. What hard facts is this? Not at all. Absolutely. Second point, if this was truly bipartisan, why didn't you talk about Varuna? Varuna, to your viewers, Barkha, is Sidramaia's constituency, CM Sidramaia's constituency, where multiple zeros have come up as address. Third, Dhule Lok Sabha constituency, Malegaon Central. We had the same issue where majority of the constituencies, assembly segments went to the BJP, whereas one assembly segment, 190,000 votes in favor of the Congress. We went to court. If Rahul Gandhi is so sure about his numbers, go file an affidavit, go to court. Let's fix this together. But you're making this political. That is where we have a problem. Barkha, you're on mute.
We've lost you, Barkha.
Sorry. I'm saying let me just play out the specific charges made by
Barkha, I'd
Rahul
like to...
Yeah, just 1 minute. I just want to play out this Rahul Gandhi clip and then we'll come right back.
डुप्लीकेट वोटर, जिसका मतलब एक वोटर के नाम वोटर लिस्ट में अनेक जगह आ रहे हैं. फेक एड्रेस मतलब एड्रेस है ही नहीं या फिर हाउस नंबर 0. बल्क वोटर इन सिंगल एड्रेस मतलब एक छोटे से घर में 40, 50, 60 लोग रह रहे हैं. इनवैलिड फोटोज, छोटी सी फोटो है या फिर फोटो ही नहीं है, और वो जो छोटी फोटो है वो दिखती भी नहीं है. कौन है, किसका चेहरा है, नहीं पता लग सकता. मिसयूज ऑफ फॉर्म 6. फॉर्म 6 फर्स्ट टाइम वोटर्स के लिए होती है, मतलब जिनकी एज 18, 20.
Okay, let's open this up now. Dhruv, I believe you have to hop off early. Do you have to hop off early? Otherwise, I want to go to... Okay, go ahead quickly and then Dilip and Sugata.
Right, and I completely understand Surabhi's investigation into the investigation, but these are over 1 lakh votes. Are you going to sit and reinvestigate all 1 lakh votes? You are more than welcome to do so. And the Congress party would, in fact, help you with it, because we want to make sure that these votes are, in fact, recounted, and we want to make sure that all of this is brought into light. Now, Barkha, I have one simple contention over here. The BJP themselves, like Surabhi has mentioned, like Sambit Patra had mentioned in his press conference a couple of hours ago yesterday, speaking about why Congress only, why didn't Congress raise this issue in Himachal? Why have they raised it only in Karnataka? If the BJP believes that there is some amount of misconceptions, let them go ahead and also prove the same thing. But they will not do so because they know that they have won a bunch of elections purely with this type of maneuvering of the election commission. And if they are not so afraid of doing the same thing, let them also go to Varuna, create an investigation, show the entire country on what's happening over there. Why are they not doing so? Is the BJP
I have to allow Dilip and Sugata to come in. Okay, hang on. Surabhi, I will come to you, but to Dilip and to Sugata. Dilip first. Can we unmute Dilip, please? Sorry, Dilip, I can't hear you. Can we unmute Dilip? Yeah.
The simple fact is that this clearly is not about one constituency. Surabhi is saying that this is a call for SIR. In my understanding, it is the exact reverse. What is being exposed is that the ECI is sadly not somebody we can trust, because they are the ones who are going hammer and tong at this discovery. So if the ECI wanted to show that it is acting in good faith and therefore it deserves to be allowed the option of conducting a free and fair SIR, then they should actually say, hey, we are willing to give you all this data on this constituency electronically, and we will give you also the video data. It's as simple as that. Disprove on what the proof that has been displayed is. In fact, as you know, Barkha, even as we are recording this, other media people have gone and done fact checks on some of the facts that Rahul has put out. So I don't know, because I neither intend to and no longer do any fact checking on the ground. But the fact that you've got a lot of people with their knickers in a twist suggests that there is something either to be hidden or to be worried about.
So, Sugata, let me bring you in. I think the EC could have responded differently. I take your point about why is Rahul Gandhi avoiding the affidavit, but what stops the Election Commission from saying that we take your charges seriously? Please do submit them in an affidavit. Because we would like to order an official inquiry. The sentence can be complete. It can indicate the keenness to conduct that inquiry and say, please give it to us in writing so we can begin the process of an inquiry.
The language certainly could have been different, Barkha. I mean, there's no doubt that the language could have been certainly different. The language could have been more, officialese could have been used so that there was very little confusion. But the thing is that Rahul Gandhi has also been very provocative. And this whole thing, the language, the sobriety of language on either side has been decided by the political narrative that is being built. So the ECI, has asked for an affidavit. So if Rahul Gandhi, I come back to the point that I made earlier, that if you have hard facts, if you're speaking of hard facts, then you should not have a problem either which way, in the interest of the country, in the interest of cleaning up the electoral rolls, in the interest of an ordinary citizen. However, whatever, let the ECI say whatever it wants. Anyway, you've called them a bunch of corrupt people. So why don't you do that? Or forget the ECI. You have a bunch of lawyers. Let's go to the Supreme Court. Let the Supreme and demand, make a prayer that have a special commission, because it's about democracy and the fundamentals of democracy. So why don't you go to the Supreme Court and give it to them and say, please, look into this, order as broad an inquiry as possible, even bring in someone as credible as the ADR, the Association for Democratic Reforms, which has brought in a lot of change for our electoral process. You put them also in the committee. Let there be a fair inquiry. Instead of that, if you try to create optics and be provocative, then the whole thing is lost, is what I'm trying to say. The language on either side should have been a little more gentle and whatever. So otherwise, Barkha, last point, otherwise, if you go on using a phrase like vote chori, election has been stolen. I was driving back in an Uber, I'll tell you this, just now from a lit fest to this place, to my home, and the driver asked me a very confounding question. He said, sir, Rahul Gandhi has come here. Today morning, my business has been down because I'm stuck at signal lights. But Congress has won in the state. Why are they challenging the electoral rolls? So, to an ordinary person to explain that becomes, I'm not trying to say that they should not be questioned, but how does the Dilip ji's area of expertise comes in there. How do you communicate to an ordinary voter that Karnataka, and where Congress has won a strong majority, 135 seats, and you're disputing the electoral rolls? So those electoral rolls will cut both sides. So now Surabhi has been speaking about Varuna. I will not raise the other constituencies that congressmen have themselves been speaking to me and saying that, sir, if it gets reviewed, I am gone. So that kind of talk has already begun. So
but
I
that
think it has to
means
be
but
done
that
very,
means
yeah.
But Sugata, that means that privately most politicians believe that the rolls are not clean, and even Surabhi is saying,
Absolutely. Yeah,
and even
absolutely.
Surabhi is saying that across constituencies and across parties there are issues. So the BJP
Yes.
doesn't seem to be saying there are no issues. The BJP
Right.
is saying then please support the revision of rolls cleanup that is happening in Bihar or across India. I want to just play out, since you spoke about being inflammatory, the BJP has zoomed in on this particular comment by Rahul Gandhi, which lashes out at and warns of consequences if what he calls vote chori continues. Take a look.
The Election Commission has to give us that information, give the people of India that information. Because if they don't, there are going to be consequences. There are going to be consequences for every single polling officer who's doing this. Doesn't matter how senior you are, how junior you are. One day, the opposition is going to come to power, and then you see what we do to you. Because you are attacking the foundation of what our freedom fathers built. And we're not going to allow you to attack the foundation of what they built, no matter who you are.
And before you respond, Surabhi, Bhupinder Yadav, just a minute, I want to play out the BJP's response to this. Bhupinder Yadav of the BJP also had a strong counter to this. Take a look.
दिनों से हमारे देश के प्रतिपक्ष के नेता श्रीमान राहुल गांधी जी एक एटम बम छोड़ने की बात कर रहे थे। मेरे को कल किसी मित्र ने कहा कि ये तो जिस पेड़ पर बैठे थे उसी को कुल्हाड़ी से काटने का काम कर रहे थे। और सच कहूं तो कांग्रेस के युवराज प्रदेश के प्रतिपक्ष के नेता की भाषा का जो अहंकार था वो हमारे काम करने वाले चुनाव आयोग के जो कर्मचारी हैं उनके लिए था। Rahul Gandhi has said, and I quote, "When we come to power, there will be consequences for election commission officers, big and small." क्या देश की संवैधानिक संस्थाओं के कर्मचारियों के लिए ऐसी भाषा प्रतिपक्ष के नेता को शोभा देती है?
Okay, Surabhi's been waiting, and then final comments from Sugata and Dilip. Surabhi, Dilip spoke about fact checking. Let's pick up one claim made by Rahul, which you even responded to. 80 voters in one room, right? 80 voters found in a 10 square feet sort of corner. You are not denying that that is the case. You are saying there is a reasonable explanation for it. But does it sound plausible to you that 80 voters would be from living one room, even in a high migration neighborhood?
The issue over here, when we talk about the voter rolls not being clean, where there is high migration, people tend to change their addresses quickly. It's not just about, okay, one person comes from another state. Even where they're living changes more frequently than if they're living in one place for a long period of time. The cleanliness of voter roll, what we're saying is not to allude to malice, that somebody is doing this purposely. There is an issue with keeping our voter roll clean in terms of where somebody actually is and where they're voting for. That is an issue we have to contend with. The problem with what Rahul Gandhi is very, very strongly alluding to is that the BJP, he has mentioned this, that we have won X number of seats. BJP has won only because of electoral malpractice. That is what we are taking very strongly against, saying that if you are actually trying to solve the issue, let's talk across constituencies, let's talk about the issue at hand. But he has made this into a political, and I want to say one thing, right? Institutions, we have been speaking a lot about this. Rahul Gandhi has been going after one institution after the other, the Supreme Court, judicial system, ECI right now, the ED, so on and so forth. This anti-institutional stand has been to say that something has gone terribly wrong in the last 10 years. What are your solutions to fix it if that is true? Or where is the malice? What we are trying to do, what we are proactively trying to do with something like the SIR is build a better future, ensure that these problems don't happen.
And I think there's a fair argument there in saying everybody agrees that not all is as should be with the voter roll, Sugata. But then
If I
the
may,
election,
sorry,
yeah,
just one point, because I want to say this as somebody who's in the public sector, right? It's not 100% perfect across all works, but improving the public sector is what we are here to do. Why not speak from that perspective? You're making hardworking BLOs, people who come in from government schools to do the voting, their duty during election time. You're threatening them. Why are you threatening people who are hardworking, who have nothing to take away from this?
okay.
He is really reeking of arrogance.
Okay.
Going after the BJP is one thing. Going after people who are just serving, that is a very, very bad thing to do.
Okay. I think let me bring in Sugata and then give Dilip the closing word. You see, some of the points raised by Rahul Gandhi, if they are true, and we have no way, I think Surabhi is correct in saying we don't know if there is voter fraud, who they were going to vote for, who has it benefited, right? We are simply asking, have these things happened? So, for example, 4 voter IDs, 1 man, Gurkirat Singh Dang, right? 80 voters, 10 square feet, 1 room. So, duplicate registrations, etc. I think the important thing right now is to say, did this happen? Now, what I'm hearing Surabhi say is that it could have happened because it happens in all seats at times, and that's where the focus should be.
No, I mean, Barkha, the thing is, Rahul Gandhi's use of language is causing greater trouble for him because he's using a language of certainty. There should have been a language of persuasion. And if you, instead of making straight allegations, I think if you had persuaded the ECI to look at it, it would have sounded better. That's one. The second thing is, now I go back to the question of, I mean, now the allegation has been made. Okay, let's forget the language. The allegation has been made. Who is to umpire this? It's only the Supreme Court. So now, why don't you straight away go to the Supreme Court instead of going to the, fighting on the streets? This is not an issue that can be fought on the streets because nobody can, you or I or any journalist or any data specialist can say whether this is true or false. So have a high-powered committee. Let the best NGOs who have worked in the democratic sector like ADR and others be part of it. See, you have seen the benefits of going to the Supreme Court when it came to the electoral bonds. So that did not, you benefited from that. So there was also a lot of questions being asked on the EVM just 6 months ago. Now I wonder if those questions are still relevant because nobody followed it up. So you can hit and run. You can make these allegations and run. I don't support the ECI the way the ECI responded. But the question is that if you have made an allegation, you should be able to carry it through. That is all that I'm trying to say. And otherwise there is this danger, Barkha, of 2016 in America when Trump kept on saying, the election has been stolen, the election has been stolen. And then what happened? What were the consequences of that? So I don't think there should be any kind of room for any anarchic kind of a context or circumstance. Rather, you have to go to an umpire who's reliable and credible. Okay. That is the point that I'm trying to make.
Okay, so let me give Dilip the closing word on that. Who is the umpire? How does this play out in the months to come? And how will the opposition now handle the debate around the voter rolls in Bihar? Now, to be fair to Rahul Gandhi, he said at his press conference that he believes that voter fraud can be done in multiple ways. He said there can be, a voter addition, voter deletion, and voter suppression. I'm quoting him. I'm not saying this is happening. I'm saying this is what he said. Now, Dilip, I think what Surabhi is saying is, all right, let's all come together and say our system needs to be better. And in that case, we all need to support this revision of rules. Sugata is saying Rahul Gandhi has made very serious charges. We cannot deny that. Nobody can deny that. Who's the umpire? Who is going to decide the veracity of these charges?
On this matter, I think it needs to be a more transparent format of the ECI. Please understand one thing. I fully respect what Surabhi is saying, that we need to look at the numbers. I fully agree with what Sugata is saying, that both sides have spoken in intemperate words. But the ECI is an institution, and Rahul Gandhi is only the leader of a party, even if he's occupying the position of leader of the opposition. Now, it is always true that those in opposition will tend to use more fiery and aggressive language than institutions of the government. If they are not biased, what are they afraid of? If they are not what we expect as people, what is really damaging the ECI at this moment is that the ECI seems to be in a kind of purple funk, and that is not a good position for an institution. It's not about whether you call the Supreme Court in or you ask somebody else to intervene. Elections in multiple countries across the globe have been questioned by the opposition, and that is where usually these things start. It can't be, you can't expect the ruling party to ask those questions. The questions are being asked about one constituency, and I think certainly that data clarity would actually solve most of this problem instead of just raising the temperature with more and more remarks which go in a circle.
I was going to close, Surabhi. Did you have a sentence there, Surabhi?
I just want to say that if that were true, then why these questions about the SIR happening in Bihar? If that were true, why did Tejasvi Yadav come up and say my vote has been deleted, so on and so forth? Remember, Bihar, we won substantial seats in the Lok Sabha election. To say that BJP is deleting the opposition's voters, that is absolutely ludicrous over here. It is making this issue political, as Sugata sir has been saying. Sorry, did you have a question, Barkha?
No. I was going to ask Dilip to respond to your point that there is a contradiction in the position taken on the SIR in Bihar.
I respect. Look, we are in opposition here in Karnataka. I'm in opposition. I understand that I need to be more aggressive. But what productive growth do you lead to if you are challenging the very existence of constitutional bodies and calling people out for doing their job? Having questions, wanting to solve things, that is one thing, but threatening them, and this is some very serious allegation, threatening them and saying when we come to power we'll take care of you, that's thuggery. I don't think that sets any sort of narrative, any sort of productive narrative. I'm in opposition today. If I say the same thing to my people within my own constituency in my state, it sets a very dangerous precedent.
Okay. Dilip, I'm going to give you the closing word on that. That how does the opposition navigate their position on Bihar and the revision of rules? Because that's what the BJP say.
I think the opposition's position on SIR is fairly clear. They seem to be making an issue about the fact that the deletions are clearly, so far as the public surround sound around the issue is concerned, seems to be from the opposition, because they fear it's their voters who are being checked, rechecked, or double checked. I think that the opposition needs to recognize that there is a problem. All of us need to recognize that the problem begins with the ECI. It's got to start reforming itself. We can't go around trying to clean up all these electoral rolls. Sure, it's the ECI, but people need to trust the ECI.
Okay, we leave it there. This debate is going to dominate our news space for in the days to come. I think the larger issue is, if it's one constituency in Karnataka today, could it be another constituency in India? What everybody seems to agree on in this program, at least, is that there is the problem across constituencies. I think I haven't heard anybody disagreeing on that there is duplication, there is deletion, there are sort of dubious names that make their way in. And I think the focus should be on how to clean that up. What is the best way to clean that up? And whether an inquiry should establish the truth and also a cleanup. But I think that Sugata will then say who's the judge. Will that judge's verdict be accepted? And then we'll be back to square one. So we leave it there for now. Dilip, Cherian, Sugata, Srinivasraju, Surabhi, Hodigere, and earlier to Dhruv, Jatti. Thank you to our audience. Thank you, and see you soon.
It's great to see you here. Thank you for watching our work. If you haven't subscribed yet, don't forget to click the bell icon and subscribe to Mojo Story and support independent, robust journalism.